In this video, I want to talk about one of the biggest problems which Bodygrip users tend to report back to us. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it tends to be a real issue. And that is the spring going around the corner and being diagonal across the trap like that. Normally, of course, when the trap is in use, the spring is across the two corners, only on one side. But every now and then, the spring will go past one of the corners and end up diagonal. So what I want to talk to you about today is two things. One is how to prevent that happening, and secondly, what to do with it when it does. So when the spring goes round the corner, it's generally because that eye is slightly too big or a slightly unusual size, and it just happens to catch with the way that these corners are bent. They're not always exactly the same. And it's most likely to happen at the point where you're bending the spring round from flat to the side. And you can just see on that one that it's just starting to go. And sometimes it's the leverage as you turn it which is causing that problem. So a simple way to prevent that happening is to just depress the spring slightly as you turn it, and then let it go, and that takes it past that danger point. And then when you want to bring it back, you just squeeze it again and bring it back around. And generally that will stop it happening. But sometimes you'll get them out of the box, or you'll pick them up, and that activity, that round the corner spring will just happen, and you'll find yourself with a trap that's gone like that. And at that point, you've really got to try and get that spring back, which is not easy to do, because when you're pushing that back, you're fighting against the spring as well as the corner, and that bottom part of the spring isn't really going back into that corner, so the whole thing becomes quite difficult to do. So there is a simple remedy. So the first thing to do is get a cable tie, a fairly stout cable tie, and just push it until it just starts to ratchet so that it's fixed. Depress the spring as far as you can. You don't have to try and force it around the corner, just hold it so it's in position, and get your cable tie and place it over the spring like that. Hold it as close to the top edge as you can, and just put a bit of effort on to tighten that up. Squeeze the spring as far as you can and tighten that cable tie up some more. And what that's done now is taken a lot of the pressure off the spring. So now when you're trying to get this back round the corner, you're only fighting the corner, you're not fighting the spring as well. Get the spring as close to that end as you can and just ease it over the corner like that. And then you can see that that's back perfectly safe. And the spring is round the corner. Cut your cable tie off, and there you are, back to your fully functional trap. Another way of preventing the problem, which some people use, is to leave a cable tie permanently in place between the two eyes of the spring. And what that does is it always makes sure that the spring can't go quite far enough to get round the corner. The manufacturer does do this. We've had traps supplied by them with a cable tie on. You need to make sure you don't make it too tight, because you want the spring to go fully into the corners to make the trap fully effective. But it does then prevent your spring going too far.